Hey, what's up, YouTube? This EXO coming at you here, feeling extra happy today. The sun is shining, birds are chirping, and here we are inside the garage about to rewire the Toyota Corolla. You guys remember this old girl, right? She's been one hell of a roller coaster ride. Even the last time we had it finished, some repair shop freaking ruined it for us. Tore up my carpet, blew my sub, broke my battery, and even scratched my $600 amp. So after learning the hard way not to have any gear installed at a repair shop, the system was kind of just put on the back burner. But today, we're gonna start wiring things back up and begin at the first point, getting usable signal from a stock radio. As it sits right now, this car is pretty much as basic as it gets. It still has the stock head unit from the factory, no bells and whistles, and prompts lots of comments from people asking, yo, EXO, how are you powering or sending signal to an external amplifier with a stock radio? And actually, it's really simple, and you've probably already heard of it. It's a device that does this all for you called a line output converter, specifically a high to low output converter. It takes the signal coming from your head unit, which is a little higher than your amplifier would like to receive, and brings it down to a more appropriate lower level. That way your amplifier has no problems accepting that voltage. A common way to get the job done is to tap into the nearest high level source to the amplifier, which just so happens to be our rear speakers here, one of which just so happens to be blown, but that's for another video when we upgrade these speakers. In the meantime, we can go ahead and tap into the speaker outputs right here and do some links into the device itself. Let's go check it out. This is a 2-channel line output converter from NVX. You can see the output side has RCA levels, which can be tailored and adjusted right here on these little pots. And then on our input side, it may look a little intimidating, but gosh, it's fairly simple. You got left and right input for speakers, and then power, remote, ground, and power grounds. And after all that, you're ready to take your factory signal and convert it from high to low levels. Then we'll need to find some spare speaker wire because we need to solder some extensions from our speakers to the device itself. Something like this will work just fine. It's the same size as the input wires. What the frig, Moncrief? I just almost got that whole thing on video. What the frig? He was just standing on top of the damn hood and it came tumbling down. Alright, so let's do the first one here. Make sure that we start with the ends that are tinned. And there's a good blob here to work with right now. I want to make sure that it doesn't drip onto my face. We'll just heat the top of it and kind of just integrate with the big glob. Alright, so we got the first lead soldered. We're going to go ahead and add a little bit of flux paste onto the next one here. This stuff will sizzle a little bit, but it really helps everything wick right into the wire. Oh yeah, she's sizzling. There we go. I'll put a little bit of pressure, upward pressure. Hardened up. Nice. There we go. And that is the first lead all soldered on. Now we'll move on to this speaker, but as you can see, she has seen some better days. The freaking cone is blasted apart and the terminals are no longer there. I needed to disconnect this just to be safe. So we're going to join these wires right here, trim them up a little bit after it's all said and done. I already have some flux all nice and dipped in. Looking good in here. We got the left wire extension all soldered in. Probably not as best as I could because it was really hard with the camera in here, freaking breaking my back with the angles. We're gonna make her look a little bit better with some heat shrink here as we come into the part where we're actually going to mount it and have our wires coming in, plumbing through right to it. Both left and right channels are all tapped in, soldered up, and heat shrunk for protection. Now we can take our two little wires here, which are just about perfect, and we're gonna meet in the center with our device. So we're just gonna go ahead and grab that, take some zip ties and just affix it right up here. The damn thing weighs like ounces. There's no reason for it to be wicked strong. We're at the point where we can start connecting some wires, and first up on the list is finding a place to tap into constant 12-volt power. Luckily, we got a big hunk of 0 gauge right here. This is the wire coming from our alternator up front, and we are gonna use this for the 12-volt constant wire that our device needs to run. We'll hop into our spare bin, see if we have any spare fuses appropriate for this project, and that will take care of the power. And we'll keep her nice and grounded by connecting it to the bare metal right here underneath the bracket for our seatbelt. It's pretty much the thickest part of the entire car, and there's an existing connection there, so we're going to use that bolt and plumb it up through. With all the wires pretty much ready to go, power, ground, left and right speakers, we can go ahead and start soldering. I'm gonna use a different tool this time. Try to use the soldering gun. Maybe it'll get a little bit hotter so I'm not in there so long freaking breaking my back. We'll start with the right channel here on this speaker and make sure that we get the negative. And then what we're gonna do is just kind of cross them in the middle and then just wrap it around each other. So we can kind of solder it flush, something like that. I'll trim that end off. Same thing for this side. Something like that will work just fine. This is a low power device, so it doesn't need to be perfect. Get some of this paste right here, lather it up on the outside. Now we'll take the gun this time and try a little bit of a different method than we did last time. Everything's safe for drips, and here we go. That takes care of the left and right channel. Got it crudely soldered on there, but it's really hard to do upside down, I have to admit. My neck is so sore right now. And if you're wondering why I didn't use heat shrink right here, it's because every time I tried to put a little piece on here, it would fall off, and I couldn't put it on this side because it was too small to cover it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use some Tessa tape and cover this up nice and good. We've technically only got 2 more wires left. That is the ground and then the remote out. This will go to our amplifier to turn it on and off. So that's a good bonus of this little thing. Moving right along with all the wires soldered up. Not the most picturesque thing in the world, but hey, it's strong as hell. So now you're probably wondering, what the heck is this brown little straggler doing over here? We really didn't even talk about about connecting that little guy? Well, in the manual, it says only connect this brown wire to the negative if it has no output on both right and left speakers. So we're at the point, before taping everything up, we're gonna go in and turn the key on, see if we get a red power light, and do a little bit of testing on the RCA with the positive prong and negative sheath to make sure we're getting that sweet output voltage. All right, here we are, the moment of truth, everybody. Let's go ahead and see if all this stuff is working. We're on aux mode with our Bluetooth transmitter, and our cell phone is pumping out 40 hertz at full volume. So let's go ahead and crank this bad boy and walk up back and see if everything is working. We should have a nice red light if everything's successful here. Let's go ahead and check it out. And there we go. Look at that. Everything is working. Now I'm going to put the camera on the tripod and tap into the RCAs, and we should have a nice signal coming out of these. Turn our meter onto AC volts. Our amplifiers use DC and send out AC. So these wires should be having a nice low level output coming AC voltage, and we are at 1.4 volts, not that bad, and that's before adjusting those little pots for an even voltage, and the other wire is 1.4 volts. Nice, that is definitely within range of our amplifier, but let's see how out of range the high level is before the conversion. So let's tap into these wires right here. These are the speaker wires coming in, and that is at 9.2 volts. Oh yeah. You definitely don't want to be sending that to your amplifier. And that's just at 40 hertz. Watch what happens when you actually increase the frequency. We can see upwards of freaking like 10 volts. Check this out. 10.2 volts up there. We're skipping on the Bluetooth. Oh my gosh, look at this. 11.4 volts. Now you can understand how important small little things like this really can be. Looking even better in here, and that should take care of pretty much everything. The wires are nice and neatly ran and plumbed through inside the car, goes inside the skeleton and routes down in, and then comes out right here for our remote. And then next step is to kind of, I don't know, test it with some music and some test tones. So we've got some RCAs right here and a crude little setup with some speakers. This little miniature amplifier, we did a review on YouTube, so we're going to use this with our RCA input right here on this side and see if it was a job well done. Everything's ready to go. We're about to test the output here with some speakers connected, not just a multimeter, and we'll start out right around, well, let's go right up to around 32 hertz, get a nice little excursion on video, and looks like we've got some output, guys. The amplifier is having no problems. That means it's a low-level RCA output. Speakers are moving nice. Oh yeah, let's crank it up. Oh yeah. Look at that little green dot flexing like mad. Love that. It's working. Sounds normal. This speaker's going too. There we go, guys. Looks like everything's working, and you can't even tell a difference in sound quality. So there's just a crude little test of the output until we can get an amplifier, our subwoofer. We got everything kind of sitting over right there, but we're doing everything in order. And first on the menu was our NVX line output converter. So thanks for watching this video, guys. If you'd like more information on what we used in this video, I'll include everything in the description. All right, guys, until the next video, this is EXO signing out.